Yibane, we will build it. Olam chesed yibane. We will build this world from love. Yibane, we will build it.
Good morning and welcome to today's Elul Soul Brew. Curated voices from around the world, bringing you on a journey through inspiration and introspection leading up to the high holidays. I'm Rabbi Bluth, host and producer of the Soul Brews with the Beth Tzedek Center for Spiritual Well-Being. It's been wonderful to gather with you every morning at 9 a.m. on social media, to hear from educators, inspirers, thinkers, leaders, giving us soul content, our coffee for the soul leading up to the high holidays. And today we have a very special guest. Today we have Ganga Devi Braun joining us as a soul brewer. Ganga Devi was born and raised in an interfaith ashram, which was mostly Hindu but led by Jewish women. This diverse cooperative religious environment laid a foundation for her work now as a facilitator and a counselor, through which she helps people reconnect with themselves, their ancestry, and the earth. Ganga Devi has been a really important inspiration and friend for me as I returned from India to Canada, to North America, to this environment of protests and fight for racial justice. She really connects the spiritual and the world of action. And this morning, through sharing some key allegorical elements of the Hindu epic of the Ramayana, she's inviting us to remember ourselves as the earth and to reconnect to the divine through song. I hope you enjoy. She's bringing us something totally new today. And we'll begin with our morning question. Ganga Devi, leading up to the high holidays, what is your soul brewing?
Good morning. My name is Ganga Devi Braun, and I am a regenerative counselor and interspiritual minister working at the intersections of ecological, religious, and psychological healing. Leading up to the high holy days, my soul is brewing devotion for and with this earth, this miraculous body which we are blessed to call home. I am coming to you from my mother's garden in the unceded territories of the Ais people in what is now known as the Treasure Coast of Florida. I'm sitting underneath a very old oak tree within the chuppah in which I was married to my husband at the very beginning of COVID, not what we had planned. At this point, I would like to invite you to pause this video, and if it's possible and safe for you to do so, to bring your body outside, maybe to sit on the earth under a tree, or on a chair looking at a garden, or perhaps even just sitting inside next to a favorite houseplant. I want to invite us all into relationship with the living world of green things. If it's not possible for you to do any of these things right now, I invite you to close your eyes and see yourself in a beloved place where life is thriving. So we are taught that the earth was created during Elul. So whether your eyes are open or closed, I just want to take this moment to behold the beauty of this creation. See what you notice. Breathing in deeply, I invite us all to gaze in wonder at the miracle of life. All around me, I can see the strength of trees, the soft beauty of flowers, the ripeness of berries, and the complex economy of the soil. There are butterflies and bees here drinking nectar and pollinating everything. I hear cicadas and I think about their long, dark sleep of 17 years before they come out to sing. I smell the jasmine just beginning to fade from her night's blooming. Take a moment, again, maybe pause the video, to ground into utter presence with the sacredness of where you are. Notice, again, what you can perceive with all of your senses. At this point, you are all probably familiar with the connection between this month, Elul, and the beautiful phrase from the Song of Songs, I am for my beloved, and my beloved is for me. I want to complement that beautiful verse with another verse of belovedness. This beautiful poem from Raymond Carver called Late Fragment, in which he has a conversation with himself. He says, "And did you get what you wanted from this life even so? I did. And what did you want? To call myself beloved, to feel myself beloved on the earth. And no expression of belovedness in my mind and in my life is complete without bringing in the great love story that was the core of my religious life growing up, that of Rama and Sita, as told in the incredible Hindu epic, the Ramayana. Now, this story can take many lifetimes to do justice to, and I won't dishonor it by attempting to squeeze it all into the time that we have today. But just as with all Hebrew and all religious texts throughout history, it can be understood in many different layers. So the layer that I'm bringing forward today, the allegory, is the understanding of Rama and Sita and their love as the play between the immanent and the transcendent, the earthly and the divine. And knowing ourselves as part of the living earth, allowing ourselves to call out to the divine, and ultimately to remember we are not separate from it. So Sita was born directly from a furrow in the earth. She is the earth. She embodies the fierce love and care of the earth. Rama, her husband, is an emanation of Vishnu, and he embodies the love and power of the cosmos. And the story of the Ramayana centers around their separation due to Sita's kidnapping at the hands of power-hungry Ravana. And the story details all that was done to bring these lovers back together again. And it's important to note that their reunion was only possible because of the service of Lord Hanuman, who is the son of Anjani, the queen of a race of monkeys, and Vayu, the wind god. So the way that I perceive the story at this layer of understanding, at this allegorical layer, is that Sita, the bride, who is the earth which we are not separate from, is longing for her beloved Rama, her groom, who is divine, and who we are ever longing for reunion with. Ultimately, they are reunited by Hanuman, who is the wind, the breath. And the way that the breath can unite is through chanting, through song. So for much of the story of the Ramayana, Sita is in captivity. She's in a walled garden, and she spends her days sitting in prayer underneath an Ashoka tree, refusing the delights of the palace that she's in captivity in. So many believe that she was sitting there doing nothing. But if you know Sita, you know that that would never have been the case. She was involved in her own sacred action of prayer and maintaining a mind solely focused on the triumph of noble Rama over the power-hungry Ravana. It was the inner devotional action that Sita focused on just as much as the outward action of Rama and his army of forest animals that brought ultimate victory. And so when I'm troubled by the vast challenges in our current world and the overwhelming obstacles that seem to be in the way of liberation and justice and healing for all. And when I sometimes feel I'm in a sort of captivity due to this pandemic, my own body that has chronic illness, I can't go out very often, I remember Sita and I continue her work inside of myself so that I can show up in full support of the movements that are healing this world in the unique way that I am able to. So I begin by sitting under a tree, like I am today, and I sing a song of devotion to Ram. This story, this song, this melody was composed by Jayutal, who is one of many Jewish people in my world, my extended religious family, who have turned to Hinduism for an expanded spiritual experience that they didn't have access to in their childhood. And this melody, this chant, has become like a nigun in my life and many of my sacred friendships. It is a calling out to Ram, and just as much for me, it is a reminder that I am the bride, longing for reunion with my divine beloved. So I invite you to sing with me once you can hear the melody. And if chanting to Ram does not feel in integrity with your spiritual life, I completely understand. I invite you to sing any nigun or put in any syllables that are sacred to you, that ring through your heart and body, as this one does for me. So here we go. Hey Ram, 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 Ram. Hey Ram, 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 Ram. Hey Ram, 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 Ram. Hey Ram, 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 Ram. Hey Ram, 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 Ram. Hey Ram, 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 Ram. Hey Ram, 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 Ram. Hey Ram, 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 Ram. Much love to you. Thank you for sharing this morning with me. All my love. Be well.